Hello out there to you. In this video, we have a price fixing problem. Not very common in the US, but I guess it could be so somewhere else in the other parts of the world. We've got a market demand curve, which is this. This is an inverse demand curve or demand function. And then this is the market supply function right here. And we're told that the market price is fixed at 90. Okay. So I always think it's helpful to sort of draw a picture so we can think about what we're doing here. This is the demand, and I didn't really draw this, I graphed this, but this is price, and this is quantity, and this is 0, and then so our equilibrium when the market's left alone is 60 and 20 units. Okay, so that would be the case where if I set both of those equal to each other, I could solve for Q, and then I could solve for price, and then everything would be fine. In this problem, we're told kind of unusually that the price is 90. So that matters in this case. It's kind of like a price floor, but we're just setting the price at 90. So this means that we're going to follow this on the demand curve, and the buyers are going to want to buy this number, this quantity. So this is 10, and this is 5. So the buyers are going to want to buy 5. That's the quantity in the market. Okay, so then we want to just think about what would the producer surplus be. So the producer surplus would be the area of this yellow trapezoid thing. So it'd be that part of that triangle down there all the way up here. So you could just graphically like break this apart, and you could do it that way. So you could say, okay, that's 15. So it'd be 90 minus 15 times 5. That's the area of that rectangle. And then 1/2 base times height of this one. So this would be 5 times 15 and 1/2 of that. You could add those together. That gives you the producer surplus. Oh, I guess I didn't calculate what it was in equilibrium. That's okay. We can do that. Uh, so setting both of these equal to each other, we would end up with this market. So if you need to do it algebraically, you could then just calculate, okay, I've got 60 and I'm going from 0 to 60 over to 20. So the producer surplus right here would be 1/2 60 times 20, which would be 1200. Half of that, 600. So 600 is what we're comparing it to. Okay. This particular problem didn't ask about it, but the consumer surplus is going to get really small. This is the new consumer surplus. It would just be 10 times 5 and then half of that. That's the new consumer surplus. And then the old consumer surplus would be this big triangle here. So the loss on that is pretty big. So, all right, we're comparing 600. So we just need to see what this is. Now, rather than do that geometrically, let's do it algebraically. So we know that when the price is 90, we're going to get the difference between 50. I'm sorry, when the price is 90, we get the difference between 15 and 90, and so that's right there, and that's on those 5 units. Well, how do I know that? Well, if I set the quantity of 5, okay, then I get price equals 3 times 5. And that would be 15. So that's that spot right there. And then if I set the price, we know it goes up to 90 because we're given that spot on the demand curve. So we just knew that. How did I know that? Well, I said price is 90, 100 minus 2Q. 2Q can go over here. That's 10, and that's quantity 5. So that's how I knew what that spot was there. Okay. So 90 minus 15 is 75. 75 times 5. So the new producer surplus, 75, oops, 75 times 5. And then I'm going to add that to this little triangle down here that I knew was part of that supply curve. So 15 down to 0, that's 15 times 5. 15 times 5 is, let's find out, 15 times should be 75. And then half of that is 37.5. So 15 times 5 is 75, 3750. Try that bigger. 3750. 75 times 5. 375. 375 plus 37.5 is 412. 412, was that 60? Done the wrong thing. 412.50. And what we find is that this producer surplus is smaller. Okay, so the answer could be negative. So it's the change in producer surplus is the difference between the two. So it'd be 600 is the old one minus 412.50. That's well, I guess it's the difference. So I guess you wouldn't do it that way. You do the new one, 412.50 minus 600, because that's where I was. And that one, we get 187.50. 187.50 as a decrease. This is negative. Producer surplus is smaller. So what we're really saying is the area of this big red triangle is larger than the area of this skinny rectangle on this little triangle, which looks like it makes sense there. And so we would say, we did all this analysis, we say that the consumer, well, we know the consumer is worse off. The producer is actually worse off when you fix the price at 90 because the consumer is going to buy so many fewer units. And furthermore, they're probably worse off because they're going to overproduce, so they're going to waste resources. So this is not a great policy here.